What's up, good people? Welcome back to another whiskey review. Glenmorangie Quinta Ruban. That's what I'm going to be checking out today. As usual here in Rabbit and Red Reviews. Nose, taste, finish review all coming up. Plus I'll give you a little thought about the value, my final thoughts, my score, and leave you with a malt musing. But first, let me give you the rundown on this Quinta Ruban. So, here's a quick look at the bottle. So Glenmorangie, famous Highland distillery. Their original tenure has always been considered one of the most popular, if not the most consumed, single malt Scotch whiskey in all of Scotland. They make it just a ton of different expressions, and this Glenmorangie Quinta Ruban is definitely one of their more interesting ones. So what this is a 12-year-old. It is actually aged in ex-bourbon cask and then finished in ruby red port casks. If you don't know much about port, port is a fortified wine from Portugal. Really kind of an intense, bold flavored wine. And so I think this is in there for about 2 years. This is bottled at 46% ABV, and it does say non-chill filtered right here on the label, which is fantastic. It doesn't say anything about color, so I do think that they've added some color to this. But you know, the Glenmorangie bottle is just a great presentation. It's just the definition of an elegant looking bottle of Scotch. Let's see what else they got here. Not much else. So here on the back it says the Quintas or wine estates, Portugal, provide the ruby red port casks for this velvety textured Glenmorangie. Ruban is Gaelic for ruby. So there you go. So it's literally Glenmorangie, and in Gaelic, Quinta Ruban is ruby port. Okay. And it comes in a nice box like this. There is a lot of information here on the back, which I'll not go through entirely, but it does say here, this is unnecessarily well made. So it says non-chill filtered and bottled at 46% ABV. Glenmorangie Quinta Ruban is full-bodied and velvety in texture with a wonderfully long and smooth finish, an unnecessarily well-made whiskey, extra matured in ruby port casks. Right, and here on the front, it does actually tell you explicitly that it is bourbon casks and ruby port casks. The single malt whiskey is matured in bourbon casks and extra matured or finished in the very finest ruby port casks. Okay, so I think that gives you a good sense of what we're looking at here. Why don't we get this in the glass and get started on the nose, taste, and finish review. While it does not say anywhere on here that this is natural color, so we do have to assume that they've maybe added some color to it. Let's take a look at that anyways. Really kind of a nice color. It's unfortunate that they've more than likely added some E150A to make it that bold color, but nonetheless. Okay. So I've had this open for about 2 months, so it's had a good fair amount of oxidization, and I think that that's given it more than ample time to open up, and so I think we're getting this at its close to its very best. Right away on the nose, vanilla. And kind of sweet dark fruits, so thinking black cherry, raspberry kind of thing. It's not overly complex, but it's bold. So I mean, those two things in particular are what I'm getting the most. It's that black cherry, raspberry kind of tartness, dark, juicy red fruit, and vanilla, which is definitely coming from that ex-bourbon cask. Okay. All right, taste, cilantro. Light to medium body. Initially getting notes of kind of some of the charred oak tobacco note too. But as it develops, the dark fruit kind of thing is going on. So it's like plum, for sure plum. Some raisin kind of thing. It's all those kind of dark fruits, kind of, you know, dried fruits. Black cherry still there. And then dark chocolate. As it goes into the finish, it's pretty long. Bit of a grape, dark chocolate again. The oak and spice is there too. Still getting that black cherry. Then there's like a bit of, it's like a little bit of a nuttiness. It's pretty good. It's not overly complex. This is a 12-year-old, so, you know, take that for what it's worth, but it's quite good. Okay, let's put a little bit of water on this. It's 46% ABV, so, you know, decent amount. So what I'm getting now more on the nose than I did initially, it's not vanilla anymore, it's chocolate. It's dark chocolate too. The vanilla's kind of went into the background, but it's still that sweet fruitiness, that black cherry raspberry is still there. But more dark chocolate and a little bit more spice. Maybe cinnamon. Okay. So on the taste with the addition of water, as I was saying, it was kind of these really kind of dark, bold fruits. Now it's brightened up a little bit. So the addition of water, I'm getting more of a sweetness. There's almost like a strawberry, kind of a sweeter red fruit thing going. So if you think of like plum, it's more of a dark fruit. Now it's a little bit brighter with almost, you know, almost a little bit of a strawberry taste. The chocolate's still there, a bit of that nuttiness on the finish too. But it does seem like the addition of water kind of expanded the range of flavor you get from this, whereas before it was a kind of tight, dark fruit, stuffy drink. This is, the water is actually kind of brightened this up a little bit. There's even a little note of like citrus too. I want to say, I mean, it's really light, but it's maybe a little bit of a lemon. I'm not sure. Let me give this one more try. This is one I think adding a little bit of water too actually does it a lot of justice. A little bit of a caramel now. So the bourbon notes, you're basically looking at kind of a bourbon note profile together with a really deep, dark, bold flavored ruby port wine, which is sweet. It is very in your face. Port wine is something, if you've never had before, can be a little bit of an acquired taste. So this one may be a little bit heavy, a little bit syrupy, a little bit too sickly, kind of dark sweet for some folks. Take one more look here at the bottle. Quinta Ruban. All right, bottle of this in the United States will run you anywhere from about $45 to $55. I think that's a really good value. You know, you might find it closer to 60. I'm not sure I would go that high, but anything in that 45, 55 range for a 46% ABV, wine finish, 12-year-old age statement, non-chill filtered, right on. It's checking a lot of the boxes. Okay. So my final thoughts, you know, I really do enjoy this, but I will mention that, you know, port wine is not for everyone, especially folks who not really got into sherry or wine finished single malts. I think Oloroso sherry or kind of your typical sherry finishes, even Pedro Jimenez, might be a little bit more palatable to folks getting into this. I think they did a really good job balancing that kind of super sweet, heavy flavor of a ruby red port, you know, just with the malt of this whiskey. With the bold port nature, you know, which is just kind of how most port wines are, can throw you off a little bit. So, all in all, solid release. I will mention that, you know, what you saw here, this is in a black box, aged 12 years. So Glenmorangie in 2019 actually has re-released this as a 14-year-old. So now I think it's in a dark green box. I might be wrong on that. You can let me know in the comments if I'm mistaken on that. But this is actually now released as a 14. So I don't know if they're doing the 12-year and the 14-year or if it's just moved to 14. Either way, definitely want to try it. My final score on this is going to be a 3.5 out of 5, which is going to be, you know, I do recommend trying this or buying a bottle of this at a good price. You know, like I said, depending on where you're at with either you know, in your journey of tasting sherried scotches, or if you're just a big fan of port. Okay, so thanks for swinging by Rabbit in Red Reviews again. Hit the subscribe button if you've yet to do so. Got a bunch of great videos you can check out, and a lot more coming. So see you next time. Cheers.